Why do so many people seem to fade after the age of 80? Even those who were sharp and doing well just a few years earlier often begin to decline. Most people assume this is all about genetics or bad luck, but that's only part of the picture. In reality, there are several quiet, overlooked reasons that make it harder to stay healthy and independent past 80, even for people who did many things right earlier in life. In this video, we're going to explore 5 unexpected factors that are rarely talked about but play a major role in longevity after 80. These aren't the usual topics like diet, smoking, or exercise. They're more subtle, more human, and often invisible until it's too late. The good news is that once you understand them, you can take steps to protect yourself. So if you've ever wondered what really stands in the way of aging well after 80, stay with me until the end. Let's begin. Number 1. Loss of microsocial engagement. One of the most overlooked reasons many older adults struggle after 80 is the quiet loss of what experts call microsocial engagement. These aren't close friendships or family gatherings. They're the small, everyday interactions that once happened naturally, saying hello to the cashier, chatting briefly with a neighbor, exchanging a smile with the mail carrier. These moments may seem trivial, but they play a powerful role. They regulate the nervous system, reinforce a sense of belonging, and keep the brain's social circuits active. After 80, many people stop running small errands, stop going indoors for small tasks, or avoid casual conversations because of hearing issues, mobility concerns, or weather. Without realizing it, those small points of connection begin to disappear, and so does vitality. People often think they're just simplifying life, but what they're really doing is removing low-level social stimulation that supports mood, brain function, and emotional balance. I've known people in their 80s who stayed sharp simply because they walked to the same coffee shop every morning, greeted familiar faces, and felt seen. That brief routine gave structure, meaning, and a sense of place in the world. When these interactions fade, the brain experiences it as a form of loneliness, even if you're not alone. That loneliness raises stress hormones, increases inflammation, weakens immunity, and slowly shrinks brain networks tied to memory and attention. In simple terms, it makes you feel older faster. If you stopped going out for small tasks, stopped initiating casual conversations, or started feeling invisible, it's time to reverse that. Those tiny connections are quietly telling your body and brain that you still belong, and that message matters more than most people realize. Number 2. Overcautious inactivity. Another major reason people decline after 80 is something that looks like wisdom on the surface: being extra careful. There's a fine line between protecting yourself and becoming overly cautious. When that line is crossed, the damage builds slowly but steadily. It often starts after a scare, a slip on the stairs, or a near fall outside. You decide to walk less, bend less, reach less. You sit more. Others encourage it. Take it easy, they say. And gradually, life becomes safer but stiller. The problem is that when movement decreases, strength doesn't stay the same. It fades. Balance weakens. Coordination declines. The body isn't a machine that improves with rest alone. It's more like a system that needs regular use to stay functional. One of the first areas to weaken is the core, the deep muscles that support standing, walking, and getting out of a chair. When they shrink, balance suffers, fear increases, and the cycle deepens. I once knew a man named Arthur, 82, who stopped his evening walks after a minor slip. No injury, just fear. Within 6 months, he had lost significant muscle strength and stability. He didn't stop because he was weak. He became weak because he stopped. This doesn't mean ignoring real risks. Safety matters. Handrails, good shoes, clear pathways, even a cane can be smart tools. But there's a difference between managing risk and surrendering to fear. If you're doing less, not because you can't, but because you're afraid, it's worth paying attention. Staying alive after 80 isn't just about avoiding falls. It's about continuing to move,
carefully, slowly, and deliberately so the body remembers how to function. Number 3. Disrupted sleep from irregular light exposure. There's an internal clock in your body that controls sleep, mood, immunity, metabolism, and brain repair. After 80, this clock becomes especially sensitive. One of the biggest reasons it gets disrupted is too little natural light during the day and too much artificial light at night. Many older adults spend more time indoors, nap during the day, or keep lights and screens on late into the evening. These habits seem harmless, but they confuse the body's sense of time. Without enough daylight, the brain doesn't fully wake up. Without darkness at night, melatonin, the hormone that supports deep, restorative sleep, doesn't rise properly. The result is fragmented sleep, daytime fatigue, brain fog, lower mood, and weaker immunity. Over time, disrupted sleep also increases the risk of cognitive decline. There's also vitamin D to consider. After 80, the skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight, making regular outdoor exposure even more important for bones, muscles, and immune health. I once spoke with an 84-year-old woman who felt tired and mentally foggy despite normal lab results. Her doctor suggested something simple: morning daylight exposure and turning off screens an hour before bed. Within 2 weeks, her sleep, mood, and clarity improved. No new medication, just light. If you spend most of your day indoors or your evenings in bright artificial light, small changes can help. Get outside in the morning, even briefly. Open the curtains. In the evening, dim the lights and reduce screen use. These rhythms help organize the body. Aging isn't only about wear and tear, it's also about systems falling out of sync. Restoring light and sleep cues helps bring that order back and tells your body, even after 80, that life is still in motion.
Number 4. Emotional suppression from loss and isolation. By the time many people reach their 80s, they've experienced more loss than most younger people can imagine. A spouse, a sibling, close friends, sometimes even a child. While others may offer sympathy, what often goes unrecognized is how deeply these losses accumulate, not just emotionally, but physically. What commonly happens after 80 isn't constant grief, it's emotional suppression. It's learning to hold pain inside because you feel like you should be used to it by now, or because there's no one left who truly understands what you've lost. You keep going. You say you're fine. You don't want to burden anyone. But the body remembers. Unprocessed grief doesn't disappear, it settles. Over time, it affects sleep, digestion, immunity, hormones, and the nervous system. It keeps the body in a low-level state of tension. On the outside, you may look calm. Inside, your breathing may be shallower, your shoulders heavier, your spark dimmer than it used to be. I once knew a man named Harold, 86, who lost his wife of 60 years. He rarely spoke about it and said he was managing, but within a year he lost weight, stopped going out, and struggled with sleep. Not because of illness, but because his body was carrying sorrow it never released. Emotional pain doesn't have to be dramatic to be damaging, and by the time it shows up physically, the connection isn't always obvious. People who age well past 80 often have one thing in common: emotional outlets. A trusted friend, a journal, faith, a support group, a therapist, somewhere safe to say, "I miss her," or "I feel alone," without judgment. What gets expressed can be transformed. What gets buried slowly drains the body. If you've been holding something in because you didn't know where to put it, it's time to make space, not just for your emotions, but for your health, because the heart can only carry so much before it begins to shut down quietly. If this resonates, comment number 4 below and let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Your support helps us continue this work. Let's move on. Number 5, gradual loss of daily purpose. One of the most invisible reasons many people struggle after 80 is the slow loss of daily purpose.
Not a grand life mission, but simple, everyday reasons to get up in the morning. Something to tend to, someone to see. A small responsibility that gives the day shape. Purpose can be as simple as watering plants, feeding a neighborhood cat, writing a letter, fixing something around the house. But when these routines fade, when mornings arrive with no reason to rise, and evenings pass with nothing to reflect on, something inside begins to power down. The body listens to the mind. When the mind no longer senses a reason to move forward, the body follows. Appetite drops, energy fades, movement slows. This doesn't happen all at once. Maybe a weekly group stops meeting. Maybe volunteering ends. Maybe family visits less often. You tell yourself it's normal, but deep down, you feel the days blending together. I once met a woman named Eleanor, 88, who radiated life. She wasn't wealthy or in perfect health, but she had rhythm. Every Monday, she wrote postcards to people who were homebound. Every Thursday, she cooked soup for a shelter. Every afternoon, she sat by her window and waved to children walking home from school. They knew their names. They knew hers. Her life had texture. Here's the truth no one tells you. The body stays alive as long as it believes it's needed. Purpose, even small purpose, signals the body to keep repairing, adapting, and engaging. When that sense of relevance disappears, the flame dims. People who thrive past 80 often have one thing in common: a pet, a garden, a ritual, a phone call, a prayer. What matters isn't size, it's consistency, knowing there's a reason to rise. So if you've been feeling adrift, don't ignore it. That's not just sadness, it's a signal. Your body is asking for rhythm again, because longevity isn't just about the heart beating, it's about the heart wanting to beat.
As we close, remember this: people don't fade after 80 because of one event. It happens slowly, through small losses of rhythm, connection, and purpose. And the same way it fades, it can be rebuilt. One walk, one conversation, one meaningful habit at a time. You can't stop aging, but you can shape how you age. Start small, stay engaged, and protect what gives your days meaning. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And tell us in the comments what's one small change you're willing to make starting today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.